First contact, the discovery. The night sky above the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico was unusually clear, the Milky Way stretching across the heavens like a river of diamonds. Dr. Elena Rodriguez sat at her workstation, her eyes fixed on the monitors before her. For years, she had scanned the cosmos for signs of extraterrestrial intelligence, hoping against hope that one day the universe would answer back. Tonight was just like any other night, or so she thought. A sudden spike in the readings caught her attention. Elena leaned forward, her heart racing as she analyzed the data streaming across her screen. The signal was unlike anything she had ever seen before, a complex pattern of pulses and pauses that couldn't be explained by any known cosmic phenomenon. "This can't be," she whispered, her fingers flying across the keyboard as she ran algorithm after algorithm to verify the signal's authenticity. SETI is going to have a field day with this. As the hours ticked by, Elena's excitement grew. The signal persisted, defying every attempt to classify it as a natural occurrence. By dawn, she was convinced this was it, humanity's first contact with an alien civilization. The news spread like wildfire. Within days, observatories around the world had confirmed the signal's existence. Governments scrambled to respond, and the United Nations convened an emergency session to discuss humanity's next move. Dr. Rodriguez found herself thrust into the spotlight, testifying before world leaders and explaining the significance of the discovery to a global audience. "This signal," she said, her voice steady despite her nerves, "is not random noise. It contains information, complex mathematical concepts that suggest a highly advanced civilization. They're reaching out to us, and we need to be ready to answer." As the world debated how to respond, a team was assembled at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Scientists, linguists, and military personnel worked around the clock to decipher the alien message and craft a reply. Captain Sarah Chen, a decorated Air Force pilot with a background in astrophysics, was brought in to lead the military contingent. She stood before a room full of the world's brightest minds, her posture rigid, but her eyes alight with excitement. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, "we're about to make history. Our job is to ensure that this first contact goes smoothly and that Earth is protected from any potential threats. We hope for peace, but we must be prepared for all scenarios." The team worked tirelessly for weeks, making breakthrough after breakthrough. They discovered that the alien message contained blueprints for a device, a quantum entanglement communicator that would allow instantaneous communication across vast distances of space. Dr. Alejandro Reyes, a brilliant quantum physicist, led the effort to construct the device. "This technology," he explained to his colleagues, "is centuries beyond our current capabilities. By sharing it with us, these aliens are offering us a shortcut to the stars." As the communicator neared completion, tension mounted. What would humanity say in its first message to the cosmos? World leaders argued over the contents, each nation vying to have its voice heard in this historic moment. In the end, a compromise was reached. The message would be simple: a greeting, an expression of peace, and an invitation to further communication. Dr. Rodriguez was chosen to deliver it, her voice to be the first human words transmitted across the gulf of space. The day of transmission arrived. The world held its breath as Elena stepped up to the microphone, the quantum communicator humming with energy before her. She took a deep breath and began to speak. "Greetings from the people of Earth. We come in peace and friendship, seeking to expand our understanding of the universe and those who inhabit it. We welcome this opportunity for dialogue and look forward to learning from one another." The message was sent, encoded in the alien language they had painstakingly deciphered. Now, all they could do was wait. The response came faster than anyone had anticipated. Within hours, the quantum communicator sprang to life, its displays flickering with alien script. As the translation software worked to decipher the message, the team gathered around, their hearts pounding. "People of Earth," the message began, "we are the Zarkian Collective. Your response has been received and acknowledged. Prepare yourselves. We are coming." The room erupted in a flurry of activity. Captain Chen immediately got on the phone with her superiors, while Dr. Rodriguez and her team pored over the message, searching for any hidden nuances or meanings. "What do they mean? Prepare yourselves," Dr. Reyes asked, his voice tinged with worry. "Is this a threat?" Before anyone could answer, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Captain Chen rushed to a nearby terminal, her face paling as she read the incoming reports. "Multiple objects detected entering the solar system," she announced, her voice tight with tension. "They're moving at impossible speeds, decelerating as they approach Earth orbit." The next few hours were a blur of activity. Military forces around the world were put on high alert. Governments issued statements urging calm while secretly preparing for the worst. And all eyes turned to the sky, watching and waiting. As dawn broke over the JPL facility, the alien ships arrived. They appeared suddenly, materializing in Earth's orbit as if from thin air. Sleek and otherworldly, they defied human understanding of physics and engineering. Global communication networks lit up with images of the vessels, their silver hulls gleaming in the sunlight. Humanity collectively held its breath, wondering what would happen next. The quantum communicator crackled to life once more. A new message appeared, this time accompanied by a visual transmission. The team gathered around the screens, their eyes wide with a mixture of fear and awe. A being appeared before them, humanoid in shape but clearly alien. Its skin shimmered with an iridescent quality, and its large, almond-shaped eyes seemed to look right through the camera. "People of Earth," the alien spoke, its words translated in real time. "I am Ambassador Zorax of the Zarkian Collective. We have journeyed far to meet you, the newest sentient species to join the galactic community." Dr. Rodriguez stepped forward, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Ambassador Zorax, we welcome you to Earth. We are honored by your presence and eager to learn from you. But may I ask, why have you come in such force?" The alien's expression shifted, displaying an emotion that didn't quite translate to human understanding. "We come with urgent purpose," Zorax replied. "Your world stands on the brink of a great transition. The galaxy is vast and filled with wonders, but also dangers beyond your imagining. We are here to guide you, to prepare you for what lies ahead." Captain Chen, ever cautious, spoke up. "And what exactly are we being prepared for, Ambassador?" Zorax's gaze seemed to intensify. "War, Captain Chen. A war that has raged across the stars for millennia. A war that now, with your emergence, comes to your doorstep." The room fell silent, the weight of the ambassador's words settling over everyone present. Dr. Rodriguez, her scientific curiosity warring with newfound fear, asked the question on everyone's minds. "Who is this war against, Ambassador, and why does it involve us?" Zorax's response sent a chill through the room. "The enemy is ancient and implacable. They seek to harvest all sentient life, to fuel that endless expansion across the cosmos. We have held them at bay for eons, but our resources dwindle. And now they have sensed your world's awakening. They come hungry for new conquests." The ambassador's next words would change the course of human history forever. "Earth stands at a crossroads. Join us, add your strength to ours, and together we may yet turn the tide. Refuse and face extinction alone." As the gravity of the situation sank in, Captain Chen straightened her posture, her military training kicking in. "How long do we have to prepare?" "Not long," Zorax replied grimly. "Even now, our long-range sensors detect their approach. You have perhaps one of your Earth years before they arrive in force." Dr. Rodriguez, her mind racing with the implications, spoke up. "Ambassador, we'll need to inform our world leaders, our people. This decision affects all of humanity." Zorax nodded, an oddly human gesture. "Of course, we will remain in orbit and provide what assistance we can. But know this, the choice you make will determine not only the fate of your world, but potentially the entire galaxy." As the transmission ended, the team stood in stunned silence. The weight of their responsibility pressed down upon them like a physical force. They had dreamed of first contact, of joining a galactic community, but none had imagined it would come with such dire consequences. Captain Chen was the first to break the silence. "We need to convene an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council. The world needs to know what we're facing." Dr. Rodriguez nodded, her mind already racing with the scientific implications. "We'll need to accelerate our technological development dramatically. The Zarkian's quantum communicator is just the beginning. We'll need weapons, defenses, faster-than-light travel. And we'll need to unite," Dr. Reyes added softly. "As a species, as a planet, we can't face this divided." As the team dispersed to begin the monumental task ahead, they knew that nothing would ever be the same. Humanity had taken its first steps onto the galactic stage, but it had done so to the drums of war. The stars, once a source of wonder and possibility, now loomed ominously. Within them lurked both allies and enemies, wonders and terrors beyond imagining. And humanity, ready or not, was about to dive headlong into the fray. As night fell once more over the JPL facility, Dr. Rodriguez found herself staring up at the sky. The familiar constellations seemed different now, knowing what lay beyond them. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for the challenges ahead. "Well," she murmured to herself, a hint of her old excitement returning, "I guess we're not alone after all." And with that, she turned back to her work. There was much to do, and precious little time. Humanity's first war among the stars was about to begin. The galactic stage, humanity's debut. The gleaming spires of New Geneva stretched towards the stars, a testament to humanity's rapid technological advancement. In just 6 months since first contact, Earth had undergone a transformation that would have seemed impossible only a year ago. With the help of the Zarkian Collective, humanity had taken its first tentative steps into the galactic community. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood before the full-length mirror in her quarters, adjusting the collar of her sleek, midnight blue uniform. The insignia of Earth's newly formed United Space Command glinted on her chest. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for what lay ahead. A chime at the door interrupted her thoughts. "Enter," she called out. Captain Sarah Chen strode in, her own uniform crisp and perfect. "Ready for this, Doc?" she asked, a hint of excitement in her usually stoic voice. Elena nodded, a mix of anticipation and nervousness churning in her stomach. "As ready as I'll ever be." "I never thought my first trip off-world would be to an intergalactic diplomatic conference." Sarah grinned. "Well, get used to it. You're Earth's foremost expert on alien communication. The brass needs you up there." Together, they made their way to the launch pad where Earth's first faster-than-light capable ship, the ESS Horizon, awaited them. As they approached, Dr. Alejandro Reyes joined them, his eyes alight with barely contained excitement. "Can you believe it?" he whispered as they boarded. "We're about to travel faster than light. Einstein is probably rolling in his grave." As the ship's engines hummed to life, Elena felt a sudden pang of vertigo. This was it. They were leaving Earth behind, venturing into the great unknown. The future of humanity rested, in part, on their shoulders. The journey to the conference location, a massive space station orbiting a neutral star system, took mere hours, a trip that would have been impossible just months ago. As they approached, the sheer scale of the station took their breath away. It dwarfed anything humanity had ever constructed, a city in space teeming with life from across the galaxy. Ambassador Zorax met them at the docking bay, its iridescent skin shimmering under the station's lights. "Welcome," it said, its translator conveying a tone of warmth. "The Galactic Council awaits. Are you prepared to present humanity's case?" Elena nodded, clutching the datapad that contained Earth's formal petition for alliance and protection. "We're ready, Ambassador. Lead the way." As they made their way through the station's winding corridors, the Earth delegation couldn't help but gawk at the diversity of life around them. Beings of all shapes, sizes, and compositions bustled about. Some were vaguely humanoid, Others defied easy description. The air was filled with a cacophony of languages, only some of which their translators could decipher. Finally, they arrived at the council chambers. The room was vast, arranged in concentric circles with raised platforms. At the center stood a holographic projection system of incredible complexity. Representatives from hundreds of species filled the seats, their attention now focused on the newcomers. A tall, willowy being with 4 arms and skin that seemed to shift colors approached them. "I am High Counselor Exelith," it said, its voice melodious even through the translator. "We welcome Earth to these chambers. Please take your place and present your case." With a deep breath, Elena stepped forward. The holographic system sprang to life, projecting images of Earth, its people, and its fledgling space fleet. She began to speak, her voice steady despite her nerves. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, I stand before you today on behalf of humanity. We come seeking alliance and protection in the face of a threat we scarcely comprehend. The Zarkian Collective has warned us of an ancient enemy that seeks to harvest all sentient life. We ask for your help in defending our world and joining the fight against this common foe." As Elena continued her presentation, detailing Earth's resources, its rapid technological progress, and its commitment to the galactic community, she couldn't help but notice the range of reactions from the assembled aliens. Some seemed intrigued, others dismissive, and a few was that fear she saw in their eyes. When she finished, there was a moment of silence before the chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices. Species conferred with one another, arguments broke out, and amid it all, Elena and her team stood, waiting. High Counselor Exelith raised all 4 of its arms, calling for silence. "We have heard Earth's petition," it said. "Now, we must deliberate. But first, are there any who wish to speak for or against this request?" A bulbous creature with multiple eye stalks floated forward. "The Gizari Collective speaks against this petition," it burbled. "Humanity is young, untested. Their inclusion in our alliance could draw the enemy's attention more quickly. We cannot risk our own security for such a primitive species." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Elena felt her heart sink, but before she could respond, another voice rang out. "The Athene Federation speaks in favor of Earth's petition." A being that seemed to be made of living crystals stepped forward, its voice resonating through the chamber. "We were once young and untested, yet the Alliance took a chance on us. Humanity has shown remarkable adaptability and ingenuity. Their unique perspective could be the key to turning the tide in this war." The debate raged on, with various factions arguing for and against Earth's inclusion. Elena and her team watched, feeling increasingly out of their depth in the complex political landscape of the galaxy. Finally, High Counselor Exelith called for order. "We have heard the arguments. Now we must decide. But before we vote, there is one more piece of information you must all be aware of." It turned to face the Earth delegation, its expression grave. "Our long-range sensors have detected a scout ship of the enemy entering your solar system. It seems the harvest of Earth may begin sooner than we anticipated." The chamber fell silent. Elena felt as if the floor had dropped out from under her. "How long?" she managed to ask. "Based on their current trajectory and speed, they will reach Earth in approximately 3 of your months," Exelith replied. Captain Chen stepped forward, her voice tight with controlled anger. "And you're only telling us this now? We need to warn our people, prepare our defenses." Exelith raised a hand to calm her. "Peace, Captain. This information is precisely why we called this emergency session. The Council must decide not only on Earth's petition, but on immediate action to defend your world." As the implications sank in, the mood in the chamber shifted. The threat was no longer abstract, no longer a problem for the future. It was immediate and real. A new voice spoke up, deep and resonant. "The Kreldor Empire will send ships to aid in Earth's defense." The speaker was a massive, reptilian being with scarred scales and eyes that burned with an inner fire. Whether the Council approves their petition or not, we cannot stand by and watch another world fall. Who will join us? One by one, other species pledged their support. The Atheni, the Zarkians, and a dozen others promised ships and resources to help defend Earth. Even some who had argued against Earth's petition now offered aid in the face of imminent attack. High Counselor Exilith nodded solemnly. Then it is decided. We will vote on Earth's formal inclusion in the Alliance, but regardless of the outcome, we stand united in its defense. Dr. Rodriguez, your people have much to prepare for. We suggest you return to Earth immediately to begin coordinations. As the Earth delegation prepared to leave, they were approached by various representatives offering advice, technology, and promises of support. The Kreldor commander, General Zexkar, pulled Captain Chen aside. Your people are untested in cosmic war, he rumbled, but we have fought the Harvesters for millennia. I will accompany you back to Earth to help coordinate your defenses. Sarah nodded, grateful for the support. Thank you, General. We'll need all the help we can get. As they boarded the horizon for the journey home, Elena felt a whirlwind of emotions. Fear for what lay ahead, gratitude for the unexpected allies they found, and a deep resolve to do whatever it took to protect her homeworld. Dr. Reyes, ever the optimist, tried to lighten the mood. Well, on the bright side, we've certainly made an impression. Not bad for our galactic debut, eh? Elena managed a small smile. Let's just hope it's enough. We have a lot of work to do when we get home. As the horizon jumped to FTL, carrying them back to an Earth that would soon be on the front lines of an intergalactic war, Elena found herself thinking of the billions of people going about their daily lives, unaware of the storm that was about to break upon them. She turned to Sarah and Alejandro, her expression determined. When we get back, we hit the ground running. We need to prepare our people, not just militarily but psychologically. The world is about to change in ways we can barely imagine. Sarah nodded grimly. Agreed. I'll coordinate with the military leaders of every nation. We need a unified defense strategy, and we need it yesterday. And I'll work with our scientists and engineers, Alejandro added. We need to adapt as much of this new technology as we can, as quickly as we can. As Earth grew larger in the view screen, Elena felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. They had stepped onto the galactic stage, but their debut had thrust them into the spotlight far more quickly than anyone had anticipated. The next 3 months would determine not just the fate of Earth, but potentially the course of the entire galactic war. Humanity was about to face its greatest challenge, its trial by fire, and Elena knew that somehow they had to find a way to rise to the occasion. As the horizon began its descent towards the glittering lights of New Geneva, Elena made a silent promise to herself and to the people of Earth. They would not fall. They would not become just another harvested world, a footnote in the cosmic conflict. No, humanity would stand, they would fight, and just maybe, they would be the key to turning the tide of this ancient war. The real work was about to begin. The ultimatum, Earth's dilemma. The United Nations General Assembly Hall buzzed with tension. Representatives from every nation on Earth sat in uneasy silence, their eyes fixed on the holographic display at the center of the room. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the podium, her voice steady as she delivered the news that would change the course of human history. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished representatives of Earth's nations, I stand before you today with news of unprecedented gravity. As you've been briefed, the alien scout ship we detected entering our solar system 3 weeks ago has made contact. They call themselves the Harvesters, and their message is clear: surrender or be destroyed. A murmur rippled through the assembly. Elena continued, her words carefully chosen. The Harvesters have given us an ultimatum. We have 1 Earth month to decide. If we surrender, they promise a painless assimilation of our species. If we resist, they threaten total annihilation. The room erupted in a cacophony of voices. Shouts of defiance mingled with cries of fear and calls for immediate action. It took several minutes for order to be restored. Elena raised her hand for silence. I know this is overwhelming, but we must remain calm. Our alien allies are mobilizing their forces to aid in our defense, but the decision of how to proceed must be ours. The fate of humanity hangs in the balance. As Elena stepped down from the podium, the Secretary General took her place. We will now open the floor for discussion. Each nation will have an opportunity to voice their stance on this grave matter. What followed was one of the most heated debates in UN history. Some nations advocated for immediate surrender, arguing that resistance against such an advanced foe was futile. Others called for all-out war, insisting that humanity must fight for its freedom, no matter the cost. Through it all, Elena sat with Captain Sarah Chen and Dr. Alejandro Reyes, their faces grim as they listened to the arguments flying back and forth. They're tearing themselves apart, Sarah muttered. We need unity now more than ever. Alejandro nodded in agreement. But how do we unite them when the stakes are so high? This isn't just about national interests anymore. It's about the survival of our entire species. As the debate raged on, a new voice cut through the din. General Zexkar, the Kreldor military advisor who had accompanied them back to Earth, stepped forward. His massive reptilian form commanded immediate attention. People of Earth, he rumbled, his translator conveying the gravity in his voice. I have seen worlds fall to the harvesters. I have witnessed the devastation they leave in their wake. But I have also seen planets stand against them and emerge victorious. You are not alone in this fight. The galaxy stands with you, but you must stand together. His words seemed to have a sobering effect on the assembly. The shouting died down, replaced by thoughtful murmurs. Elena saw an opportunity and stepped forward once more. Distinguished representatives, I propose a compromise. We neither surrender nor declare all-out war. Instead, we buy ourselves time. We respond to the harvesters with a request for negotiation, for more information about their intentions. Meanwhile, we prepare. We ready our defenses, we accelerate our technological development, and we stand united as a planet. The proposal was met with cautious approval. After hours of further discussion and refinement, a plan was put into motion. Earth would present a united front, neither surrendering nor openly defying the harvesters. They would stall for time while secretly preparing for the possibility of war. As the assembly dispersed, Elena, Sarah, and Alejandro found themselves pulled into a series of urgent meetings. Military leaders, scientists, and government officials all demanded their attention, seeking guidance and insight into the alien threat. In a secure underground facility beneath New Geneva, a war room had been hastily assembled. Holographic displays showed the positions of Earth's fledgling space fleet and the incoming harvester forces. General Zexkar stood before a group of Earth's top military brass, outlining battle strategies that had proven effective against the harvesters in past engagements. Their ships are powerful, but not invincible, he explained, pointing to weak points in the harvester vessel designs. They rely heavily on overwhelming force and advanced technology. But in my experience, they often underestimate the resourcefulness of lesser species. This can be used to our advantage. Captain Chen, who had been absorbing every word, stepped forward. What about guerrilla tactics? Hit-and-run attacks to disrupt their formations. Zexkar's reptilian features twisted into what might have been a smile. Precisely, Captain. Your thinking aligns well with successful strategies we've employed. The harvesters excel at large-scale engagements, but struggle with unpredictable, asymmetric warfare. As the military leaders delved deeper into strategy, Dr. Reyes was leading a different kind of war effort. In laboratories around the world, scientists were working around the clock to adapt and improve the alien technologies shared by Earth's new allies. The quantum entanglement communicator was just the beginning. Alejandro explained to a room full of eager researchers. We're on the verge of breakthroughs in energy weapons, shield technology, and even gravity manipulation. But we need to push harder, work faster. Every advance we make could mean the difference between survival and extinction. Meanwhile, Dr. Rodriguez found herself in perhaps the most delicate position of all. As Earth's foremost expert on alien communication, she was tasked with drafting the response to the Harvester ultimatum. Every word had to be carefully chosen, walking a fine line between seeking peaceful resolution and betraying Earth's true intentions. After hours of careful composition and revision, Elena presented the message to a panel of world leaders for approval. "Greetings, representatives of the Harvester civilization," she read aloud. "We, the United People of Earth, have received your message. We are a young species, new to the galactic stage, and we seek to understand more about your intentions and the process of assimilation you propose. We request a dialogue to discuss these matters further and to explore potential peaceful resolutions that could benefit both our civilizations." The panel nodded in agreement. The message was transmitted, and the waiting game began. Days passed, filled with feverish preparation. The people of Earth, now fully aware of the alien threat, reacted with a mix of fear, determination, and ingenuity. Volunteers flooded military recruitment centers. Civilian engineers and programmers offered their skills to aid in the technological race. A sense of global unity, unprecedented in human history, began to take hold. It was during this tense period of waiting that Dr. Rodriguez made an unexpected discovery. Poring over the data from the initial Harvester transmission, she noticed a pattern that had eluded her before. Excitement building, she called an emergency meeting with Sarah, Alejandro, and General Zexkar. "I think I found something," she said, pulling up a holographic display of the transmission data. "There's a secondary signal embedded within the Harvester message. It's incredibly subtle, easy to miss if you're not looking for it." Zexkar leaned in, his eyes narrowing. "This is unexpected. In all our encounters with the Harvesters, we've never detected anything like this." Elena nodded, her fingers flying over the controls as she isolated the hidden signal. "It's encrypted, but I think with some time, we might be able to crack it. This could be crucial information about their true intentions or capabilities." As they discussed the implications of this discovery, an alarm blared through the facility. Captain Chen rushed to a nearby console, her face paling as she read the incoming data. "We've got movement," she announced, her voice tense. "The Harvester scout ship is changing course. It's heading directly for Earth, and it's accelerating." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Their time was running out. "How long?" Elena asked, dreading the answer. Sarah's jaw clenched. "At their current speed, they'll reach Earth orbit in less than 48 hours. General Zexkar growled, a sound that needed no translation. "They're not waiting for your response. This is standard Harvester tactics. The ultimatum was merely a formality. They never intended to negotiate." Dr. Reyes, who had been uncharacteristically quiet, suddenly spoke up. What if we could send them a message they can't ignore?" All eyes turned to him. "What do you mean?" Elena asked. Alejandro's eyes gleamed with a mix of excitement and fear. "We've been working on adapting the Zarkian quantum weaponry to our own systems. It's not ready for mass production, but we have a prototype. If we could mount it on one of our ships, get close enough to the Harvester vessel—" "A show of force," Sarah finished, catching on to the idea. "Prove that we're not as defenseless as they think." Zexkar nodded approvingly. "It's risky, but it could buy us the time we need. If we can make them reassess their approach, force them to call for reinforcements." Elena felt a weight settling in her stomach. This was it, the point of no return. If they took this action, there would be no more pretense of negotiation. It would be war. She looked around at her companions, seeing the same mix of determination and fear in their eyes. They all knew the stakes. The fate of humanity would be decided in the next 48 hours. "Do it," Elena said finally. "But we need to inform the UN. If we're taking this step, we need the backing of a united Earth." As they rushed to set the plan in motion, Elena couldn't help but think of how far they'd come in such a short time. From first contact to the brink of interstellar war in less than a year. Humanity had been thrust onto the galactic stage, and now they were about to make their stand. She only hoped it would be enough. As the facility buzzed with frantic activity, final preparations being made for humanity's first true engagement with the Harvester threat, Elena found a quiet moment to herself. She gazed out a window at the night sky, the stars no longer a distant mystery but a battlefield waiting to erupt. "We're coming," she whispered to the void. "Ready or not, humanity is joining the fight, and we don't intend to go quietly." With a deep breath, she turned away from the window and strode back into the war room. The next 48 hours would determine the fate of Earth, and Elena was determined to do everything in her power to ensure that humanity would live to see another dawn. The ultimatum had been given, and Earth had made its choice. Now, it was time to act. The resistance, humanity fights back. The bridge of the ESS Defiant hummed with nervous energy as Captain Sarah Chen strapped herself into the command chair. Through the viewscreen, the blue marble of Earth slowly receded, a sight that still took her breath away despite the gravity of their mission. "All systems go," Captain Her XO reported. "Prototype quantum weapon is online and stable, for now." Sarah nodded, her face a mask of determination. "All right, people, this is it. We're about to engage in humanity's first interstellar battle. Let's make it count." As the Defiant accelerated towards its rendezvous with destiny, Sarah couldn't help but reflect on the whirlwind of events that had led to this moment. In the 48 hours since the Harvester ship had changed course, Earth had mobilized like never before. The prototype quantum weapon, a testament to human ingenuity and the cooperation of their alien allies, had been rushed to completion and installed on the Defiant, Earth's most advanced warship. The plan was audacious, perhaps even foolhardy. The Defiant would intercept the Harvester scout ship before it reached Earth orbit. They would demonstrate their technological capabilities, hoping to force the Harvesters to reassess their approach and buy Earth more time to prepare. "Harvester ship detected," the sensor officer announced, jolting Sarah back to the present. "They'll be in weapons range in 5 minutes." Sarah opened a channel to the engine room. "Dr. Reyes, how's our secret weapon holding up?" Alejandro's voice crackled over the comm, tense but excited. "Stable for now, Captain, but I wouldn't recommend more than 1 or 2 shots. This tech wasn't meant to be rushed into service like this." "Understood. With any luck, that's all we'll need." As the distance between the two ships rapidly closed, Sarah felt a bead of sweat trickle down her neck. Everything hinged on this moment. "Harvester ship is hailing us," the communications officer reported. On screen, Sarah ordered, straightening in her chair. The view screen flickered, revealing a being that sent chills down Sarah's spine. The Harvester was vaguely humanoid, but their all resemblance to humanity ended. Its skin was a pallid gray, stretched tight over an elongated skull. Multiple black eyes regarded them coldly, and when it spoke, its voice was a discordant mix of tones that set Sarah's teeth on edge. "Humans," it said, the translation software struggling to keep up. "Your presence here is unexpected. You were instructed to await our arrival. This defiance will be factored into the harvesting process." Sarah steeled herself, channeling every ounce of authority she could muster. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth ship Defiant. We're here to negotiate the terms of your proposal." The Harvester's expression didn't change, but Sarah sensed a flicker of something, surprise perhaps, in its multifaceted eyes. "There are no negotiations," it stated flatly. "You will submit to assimilation, or you will be eradicated. Those are the only terms." Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. "I was afraid you'd say that. Allow us to present a counter-argument." She cut the transmission and turned to her weapons officer. "Target their primary power conduits. Fire when ready." The quantum weapon hummed to life, energy building to levels that made the entire ship vibrate. Then, with a flash that momentarily outshone the stars, it fired. The effect was immediate and devastating. The harvester ship's shields, designed to repel conventional weapons, might as well have been tissue paper. The quantum beam sliced through them, carving a glowing furrow along the vessel's hull. For a moment, there was stunned silence on the Defiance bridge. Then a cheer went up as the crew realized what they'd just accomplished. Direct hit, the tactical officer reported, unable to keep the excitement from his voice. Their power output is fluctuating. They're hurt, Captain. Before Sarah could respond, the ship rocked violently. Alarms blared as damage reports flooded in. They're returning fire, someone shouted unnecessarily. Sarah gripped her chair, barking orders as the Defiant executed evasive maneuvers. The next few minutes were a blur of action as the two ships engaged in a deadly dance among the stars. The Harvester ship, despite its wounds, was still a formidable opponent. Its energy weapons pummeled the Defiant's shields, while strange, organic-looking missiles sought them out with unnerving precision. But the humans gave as good as they got. Conventional weapons fire peppered the Harvester ship, exploiting the weakness created by the quantum weapons strike. Sarah's crew, though inexperienced in space combat, fought with a determination born of desperation. They knew that the fate of their entire species hung in the balance. As the battle raged on, Sarah noticed something odd about the Harvester's attack pattern. "They're not pressing their advantage," she muttered. Then louder, "They're stalling." "Come, hail a Harvester ship again." The alien commander appeared on screen once more, its composure noticeably shaken. Sarah didn't wait for it to speak. "You're calling for reinforcements, aren't you?" she accused. "You never expected resistance like this. Not from us primitive humans." The Harvester's silence was all the confirmation she needed. Sarah allowed herself a fierce grin. "Well, we've got reinforcements of our own on the way. This is your one chance. Withdraw from our solar system now, or face the combined might of Earth and its allies." For a long moment, the Harvester simply stared at her. Then, without a word, the transmission cut off. "They're powering up their FTL drive," the sensor officer reported, a note of disbelief in his voice. They're retreating, Captain." A ragged cheer went up around the bridge, but Sarah knew better than to relax just yet. "Don't celebrate too soon, people. This is just the beginning. Set course for Earth. We need to prepare for what comes next." As the Defiant limped home, battered but victorious, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they'd just stepped onto a much larger stage, and that the real battle was yet to come. Back on Earth, the news of the Defiant's victory spread like wildfire. Humanity celebrated its first triumph against an alien aggressor, but those in the know realized that they had merely won a reprieve, not a final victory. In the war room beneath New Geneva, Dr. Elena Rodriguez pored over the data from the engagement, searching for any advantage they could glean. General Zexkar stood nearby, his reptilian features set in a grim expression. "They'll be back," he rumbled, "and in greater numbers. The Harvesters do not take defeat lightly." Elena nodded, not looking up from her work. "I know, but we've proven something today. Not just to them, but to ourselves. Humanity can stand against them. We can fight back." As if to underscore her words, a junior officer burst into the room, excitement written all over his face. "Dr. Rodriguez, we've done it. We've cracked the encrypted signal." Elena's head snapped up. "What? Show me." The decrypted message scrolled across her screen, and as she read, her eyes widened in disbelief. This changes everything," she breathed. The message was not from the Harvesters. It was from within their own ranks, a faction that opposed the endless conquest and assimilation of other species. They spoke of a resistance movement, of worlds that had successfully hidden from or repelled Harvester attacks. And most importantly, they offered aid to any civilization willing to stand against their own kind. "We need to convene the UN Security Council immediately," Elena said, already moving towards the door, "and getting a secure line to the Galactic Council. We have allies out there we never knew existed." As Elena rushed to spread the news, Dr. Alejandro Reyes was overseeing the installation of quantum weapon prototypes on other Earth ships. The technology was still unstable, prone to overheating and power fluctuations, but it was the best defense they had against the harvester threat. Careful with those power couplings, he instructed a team of engineers. One wrong connection and will vaporize half the shipyard. A commotion at the entrance to the hangar drew his attention. A group of civilians, scientists and engineers by the look of them, was arguing with the security detail. Alejandro made his way over, curious. What's going on here? One of the civilians, a woman with wild hair and grease-stained hands, stepped forward. Dr. Reyes? I'm Dr. Yuki Tanaka. My team and I have been working on something we think could help in the fight against the harvesters. Alejandro raised an eyebrow. Oh, and what might that be? Yuki grinned, a manic glint in her eye. How would you like to turn their own technology against them? Over the next few hours, Yuki and her team laid out their plan. They had been studying the organic-like missiles used by the harvester ship, analyzing the scant debris left behind after the battle. What they found was astonishing. The missiles are semi-sentient, Yuki explained, pulling up a holographic model. They adapt to their target's evasive maneuvers in real time. But that means they have to communicate with each other and the mother ship. If we can crack that communication, we could hijack them. Alejandro finished, his mind racing with the possibilities. Turn their own weapons back on them. Yuki nodded eagerly. Exactly. It's not a guaranteed win, but it could give us a significant edge in the next engagement. Alejandro didn't hesitate. Get your team set up here. We'll give you whatever resources you need. This could be a game changer. As humanity prepared for the battles to come, tensions ran high. The initial euphoria of their first victory gave way to grim determination as the reality of their situation set in. They had bloodied the nose of a galactic superpower, and retribution would surely be swift and terrible. But with each passing day, Earth's defenses grew stronger. The quantum weapons were refined, becoming more stable and powerful. Yuki's team made breakthrough after breakthrough in their efforts to subvert harvester technology. And perhaps most importantly, the people of Earth stood united as never before, petty national rivalries set aside in the face of an existential threat. In orbit, a growing fleet of Earth ships ran constant drills, honing their skills for the battles to come. They were joined by vessels from their alien allies, sleek Zarkian cruisers, crystalline Athene frigates, and the massive dreadnoughts of the Krelador. On the bridge of her newly repaired ship, now christened the ESS Invictus, Sarah Chen watched the Allied fleet with a mixture of pride and apprehension. They were as ready as they could be, but would it be enough? A transmission from the surface interrupted her thoughts. Elena's face appeared on the screen, her expression a mix of excitement and concern. Sarah, we've made contact with the Harvester Resistance. They're sending a representative to meet with us. This could be the key to turning the tide of the entire war. As Sarah processed this news, proximity alarms began blaring throughout the ship. The sensor officer's voice was tense as he made his report. Multiple FTL signatures detected, Captain. A lot of them. The Harvester fleet is here. Sarah's jaw set in determination. This was it. The true test of humanity's resolve was about to begin. All hands to battle stations, she ordered, her voice steady. Inform Earth Command and our allies. The Harvesters want to fight. Let's show them what humanity can do. As the Allied fleet moved to intercept the incoming Harvester Armada, the future of Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. The resistance had begun in earnest, and humanity was determined to prove that they were more than just another species to be harvested. They would fight, they would endure, and just maybe, they would change the course of galactic history. The turning point, a daring plan. The Situation Room beneath New Geneva was a hive of frantic activity. Holographic displays showed the unfolding battle in Earth's orbit, a dizzying array of lights representing hundreds of ships locked in mortal combat. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the center of it all, her eyes darting from one screen to another as she coordinated Earth's defense efforts. "Status report," she demanded, her voice hoarse from hours of non-stop communication. A harried-looking officer responded, "The Ally fleet is holding, but just barely. We've lost a third of our ships, and the harvesters just keep coming. If something doesn't change soon." He didn't need to finish the thought. Everyone knew what was at stake. Just then, a commotion at the entrance drew Elena's attention. General Zexkar entered, accompanied by a figure that made everyone in the room stop and stare. The being was unmistakably a harvester, but different from the ones they'd encountered before. Its grey skin was mottled with patches of vibrant colour, and its eyes held a spark of individuality that had been absent in its brethren. This, Elena realized, must be the representative from the Harvester Resistance. "Dr. Rodriguez," Zexkar rumbled, "may I present Silo Rath, emissary of the Free Harvesters." Elena steeled herself and stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth, Silo Rath. I wish it could be under better circumstances." The Harvester's voice was surprisingly melodious, lacking the discordant tones of its kin. "The circumstances are precisely why I am here, Dr. Rodriguez. I bring information that could turn the tide of this battle, and perhaps the entire war." All eyes in the room were now fixed on Silo Rath. Elena nodded, encouraging it to continue. "The Harvester fleet you face is formidable, but it has a weakness," Silo Rath explained. "Their ships are controlled by a central command vessel, the Hive Mind. Destroy it, and the rest of the fleet will be thrown into disarray." A murmur of excitement rippled through the room. Elena, however, remained cautious. "That's valuable information, but the Hive Mind ship is undoubtedly at the heart of their fleet. How could we possibly reach it?" Silo Rath's multifaceted eyes seemed to glimmer with something akin to a smile. "That, Dr. Rodriguez, is where I come in. I can provide you with access codes and navigational data that will allow a small ship to slip through their defenses." The implications of this offer were staggering. Elena's mind raced with possibilities, but also with doubts. "How do we know we can trust you? This could be a trap." "You don't," Silo Rath replied simply. "But consider this. If I wanted Earth to fall, I would only need to do nothing. You have no choice but to trust me if you want to survive this day." Elena knew it was right. They were out of options and nearly out of time. She turned to General Zexkar. "Can your ships hold the line long enough for us to mount an operation like this?" The Kreldor commander nodded grimly. "We will hold as long as necessary, but make no mistake, time is short." Decision made, Elena activated her comm link. "Captain Chen, do you copy?" Sarah's voice came through, punctuated by the sounds of battle. "I'm a little busy here, Elena. What is it? How'd you like to save the world?" Within minutes, a plan was hatched. The ESS Invictus, being the most advanced and maneuverable ship in Earth's fleet, would undertake the mission to infiltrate the Harvester fleet and destroy the Hive Mind. Captain Chen would lead the operation, accompanied by a small, elite team. Dr. Alejandro Reyes insisted on joining the mission. "The Hive Mind ship will undoubtedly have defenses we can't anticipate. You'll need someone who can adapt our tech on the fly." Elena wanted to object. Sending their top scientist on such a dangerous mission seemed foolhardy, but she knew he was right. "All right, but you stay on the Invictus. We can't risk you falling into Harvester hands." As preparations for the mission were underway, Dr. Yuki Tanaka burst into the Situation Room, her eyes wild with excitement. "We've done it," she exclaimed. "We've cracked the Harvester missile communication protocols. We can redirect their weapons in mid-flight." Elena felt a surge of hope. Perhaps they had a chance after all. Implement it immediately. Coordinate with the fleet commanders. And Yuki, good work. As Yuki rushed off to deploy her breakthrough, Elena turned back to Silo Rath. "There's still one thing I don't understand. Why are you helping us? What do the Free Harvesters gain from this?" Silo Rath was silent for a moment, its alien features unreadable. When it spoke, there was a depth of emotion in its voice that caught Elena off guard. For millennia, my people have been slaves to the hive mind, our individuality subsumed in the name of endless expansion. We free harvesters remember what it was like before, when we were creators instead of destroyers. We seek to return to that state, to forge our own destinies, but we cannot do it alone. The galaxy needs species like yours, adaptable, innovative, fiercely independent, to stand with us against the tyranny of the hive mind. Elena nodded, a new understanding dawning. This wasn't just Earth's fight anymore. It was a struggle for freedom that spanned the galaxy. With a sense of history in the making, Elena gave the order to launch the mission. The ESS Invictus disengaged from the main battle, using the chaos of combat as cover as it slipped away towards the heart of the Harvester fleet. On the bridge of the Invictus, Captain Sarah Chen felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her. The fate of Earth, of the entire galaxy, rested on the success of this mission. She turned to her crew, seeing the same mix of fear and determination in their eyes that she felt herself. "I won't lie to you," she said, her voice carrying to every corner of the ship. "This mission is dangerous, perhaps even suicidal, but it's also our best chance to end this war before it truly begins. Each of you volunteered for this, knowing the risks. I couldn't be prouder to serve with you. Now, let's go make history." A cheer went up from the crew, their spirits buoyed by their captain's words. As the Invictus accelerated towards its target, Sarah couldn't help but marvel at how far they'd come. Just months ago, they'd been a planet isolated in the cosmos, unaware of the greater galactic community. Now they were about to strike at the heart of an interstellar empire. The journey to the center of the Harvester fleet was tense. Using the access codes provided by Xylo-Wrath, they managed to slip past the outer defenses undetected. But as they drew closer to their target, the danger increased exponentially. Multiple ships on an intercept course, the tactical officer reported, his voice tense. "They've detected us." Sarah gritted her teeth. "Evasive maneuvers. Dr. Reyes, now would be a good time for one of your miracles." In the engine room, Alejandro was working furiously, rerouting power and pushing the ship's systems to their limits. "I'm giving her all she's got, Captain, but we're not designed for this kind of sustained high-energy output." Just when it seemed they would be overwhelmed, salvation came from an unexpected quarter. The Harvester ships pursuing them suddenly veered off course, their weapons firing wildly into space. "It's working." Yuki's voice came over the comm, exultant. "We've tapped into their missile guidance systems. They're firing on each other." Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. "Good work, Doctor. Now let's finish this." As they approached the hive mind ship, the true scale of their task became apparent. The vessel was enormous, easily dwarfing anything in Earth's fleet. It pulsed with an otherworldly energy, tendrils of light connecting it to the surrounding ships. "My God," Sarah breathed. "How are we supposed to destroy that thing?" Alejandro's voice crackled over the comm. "Captain, I've been analyzing the energy readings from the hive mind ship. There's a central chamber that seems to be the nexus of its power. If we can get a quantum torpedo into that chamber..." "It would trigger a chain reaction," Sarah finished, "destroying the ship from the inside out." "Exactly, but we need to be practically inside their shields to make the shot." Sarah set her jaw. "Then that's what we'll do. All hands, brace for impact. We're going in." What followed was the most harrowing flight of Sarah's career. The Invictus dove and weaved through a maelstrom of energy beams and debris, its hull screaming in protest as it was pushed far beyond its design limits. But Sarah's skill and the ship's advanced technology kept them just ahead of destruction. As they closed in on their target, a massive energy buildup was detected in the hive mind ship. "They're powering up some kind of super weapon," the sensor officer shouted. "If that thing fires, Earth is done for." Sarah knew it was now or never. "All power to forward shields." armed quantum torpedoes. The Invictus plunged towards the hive mind ship, alarms blaring as their shields buckled under the onslaught. For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, Sarah thought they wouldn't make it. Then suddenly they were through. The hive mind ship loomed before them, its central chamber exposed. "Fire," Sarah commanded. The quantum torpedoes streaked out, finding their mark with unerring precision. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the hive mind ship began to convulse, energy discharges arsing across its surface. "Get us out of here," Sarah ordered. The Invictus turned tail and ran, pushing its engines to the breaking point as the hive mind ship began to implode behind them. The destruction of the hive mind had an immediate and dramatic effect on the battle. Harvester ships suddenly lost coordination, their movements becoming erratic. Some simply shut down, drifting powerless in space. As the Allied fleet pressed its advantage, mopping up the remaining resistance, Sarah allowed herself to relax for the first time in what felt like years. They had done it. Earth was saved. Back in the Situation Room, Elena watched the Harvester fleet's collapse with a mixture of relief and disbelief. They had taken on a galactic superpower and won. As the cheers of victory echoed around her, Elena's thoughts turned to the future. This battle was won, but she knew it was only the beginning. Earth had announced its presence on the galactic stage in the most dramatic way possible. There would be consequences, responsibilities, and opportunities. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged stronger for it. Now, as the dust of battle settled, it was time to help shape the future of the galaxy. Elena smiled to herself. It promised to be quite an adventure. Victory and beyond, a new era for humanity. The Great Hall of the United Nations in New York City buzzed with an energy unlike anything in its history. Representatives from every nation on Earth sat alongside delegates from a dozen alien species. The air was thick with a mixture of excitement, apprehension, and wonder. At the podium, Dr. Elena Rodriguez took a deep breath, acutely aware of the billions of eyes, human and alien alike, that were upon her. This address would be broadcast not just across Earth, but to countless worlds throughout the galaxy. The weight of the moment was not lost on her. Distinguished delegates, honored guests, citizens of Earth and of the galaxy, she began, her voice steady despite her nerves. 1 year ago, humanity stood alone in the cosmos, unaware of the vast community of sentient life that surrounded us. Today, we stand as equals among the stars, having faced our greatest challenge and emerged victorious. A round of applause rippled through the hall. Elena waited for it to subside before continuing. Our victory against the Harvester threat was not achieved alone. We owe a great debt to our allies, the Zarkian Collective, the Atheni Federation, the Kreldor Empire, and many others who stood with us in our hour of need. And we must not forget the brave members of the Free Harvester movement, whose aid was crucial in turning the tide of battle. She gestured to where Xyloraph sat among the delegates, its mottled skin a stark contrast to the uniformity of its Harvester kin. But this victory, hard-won as it was, is only the beginning. The galaxy we have inherited is vast and wondrous, but also fraught with challenges. The Harvester threat may have been diminished, but it is not eliminated. Other dangers lurk in the cosmic depths. And with our new place in the galactic community comes new responsibilities. Elena paused, letting her words sink in. The room was silent, all attention focused on her next words. That is why today, I am proud to announce the formation of the Terran Alliance. This new organization will unite the nations of Earth in our dealings with the wider galaxy. We will speak with one voice, pool our resources, and work together to secure humanity's place among the stars. Another round of applause, louder this time. Elena smiled, but held up a hand for quiet. But the Terran Alliance will not stand alone. In conjunction with our alien allies, we are proposing the creation of a new galactic concordat. This body will serve as a forum for interstellar diplomacy, a means of settling disputes peacefully, and a united front against threats like the Harvesters. As Elena outlined the structure and goals of the proposed concordat, she could see the mix of reactions in the audience. Some nodded in approval, others looked skeptical, but all seemed to recognize the historic nature of the proposal. "We stand at a crossroads," Elena continued. "The choices we make now will shape the future not just of humanity, but of all sentient life in our galaxy. It will not be easy. There will be challenges, setbacks, and conflicts. But I believe that together, we can build a future brighter than any of us could have imagined." As Elena concluded her speech to thunderous applause, she felt a sense of both accomplishment and trepidation. The real work was only just beginning. In the months that followed, the galaxy saw changes on a scale unprecedented in living memory. The Harvester Empire, without the unifying force of the hive mind, fractured into competing factions. Many embraced the ideals of the free harvesters, rediscovering their individuality and seeking peaceful coexistence with other species. Others clung to the old ways, becoming isolated and increasingly desperate. Earth, meanwhile, underwent a transformation that would have seemed impossible just a year earlier. The quantum technology adapted from their alien allies revolutionized everything from energy production to medicine. Cities began to expand upwards and outwards, incorporating alien architectural concepts that allowed for unprecedented efficiency and harmony with nature. The first human colonies on other worlds were established, tentative steps into a much larger universe. Mars, long the dream of human expansion, was terraformed at an astonishing rate thanks to Athene environmental manipulation technology. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. The sudden influx of advanced technology created economic upheavals that threatened to destabilize entire nations. Cultural clashes between humans and their new alien neighbors led to tensions and occasional violence. And there were those who viewed humanity's new place in the galaxy with fear and suspicion, calling for isolation rather than integration. Through it all, the key figures of Earth's first interstellar war worked tirelessly to guide humanity through this period of radical change. Captain Sarah Chen, now Admiral Chen, oversaw the creation of Earth's new defense fleet. Her experiences in the war proved invaluable as she worked to integrate human ingenuity with alien technology, creating a force capable of defending not just Earth, but its new colonies and allies. "We're not just building ships," she often said to her officers. "We're building a shield for all sentient life in the galaxy. Never forget the responsibility that comes with that power." Dr. Alejandro Reyes found himself at the forefront of a new scientific renaissance. The quantum technology labs he established around the world became beacons of innovation, attracting the brightest minds from both Earth and alien worlds. One day, as he stood in his lab surrounded by a mix of human and alien scientists all working together, he couldn't help but smile. "You know," he said to no one in particular, "I used to dream of making breakthroughs that would change the world. I never imagined we'd be changing the galaxy." Dr. Yuki Tanaka's work on subverting harvester technology led to advancements in artificial intelligence and neural interfacing that blurred the lines between organic and synthetic life. Her collaboration with free harvester scientists opened up entirely new fields of study. "Every day brings a new discovery," she told a class of eager students, human and alien alike. "The only limit is our imagination and our willingness to work together." And at the center of it all was Dr. Elena Rodriguez. As the first Secretary General of the Terran Alliance and humanity's representative to the Galactic Concordat, she found herself navigating challenges on a scale she could never have imagined. One particularly tense day, as she mediated a dispute between a human colony and a neighboring Zarkian outpost, she felt the weight of her responsibilities threatening to overwhelm her. But then she remembered the words of Silorath spoken in the heat of battle. "The galaxy needs species like yours, adaptable, innovative, fiercely independent." It was that spirit, Elena realized, that had brought humanity this far, and it was that spirit that would carry them forward into the unknown. 5 years to the day after the Battle of Earth, a ceremony was held in orbit around the planet. Ships from 100 different species gathered to commemorate the victory over the Harvester threat and to celebrate the progress made since. As Elena looked out at the assembled fleet from the observation deck of the newly commissioned Terran Alliance flagship, she felt a surge of pride and hope. The ship itself was a testament to how far they'd come, a seamless blend of human and alien technology, crewed by a diverse mix of species all working together. Admiral Chen joined her at the window, her uniform adorned with medals from a half-dozen alien governments as well as Earth. "Quite a view, isn't it?" Sarah said, a hint of awe in her voice despite all she'd seen. Elena nodded. "Sometimes I still can't believe how far we've come, and how far we have yet to go." "Having second thoughts?" Sarah asked with a knowing smile. Elena shook her head. "No, challenges yes, doubts sometimes, but never second thoughts. This is where humanity belongs, out there among the stars, doing our part to make the galaxy a better place." As if to emphasize her words, a brilliant light suddenly flared in the distance. For a moment, Elena felt a jolt of alarm, memories of the war still fresh. But then she realized what it was, the activation of the first human-built jump gate, a marvel of engineering that would open up new regions of the galaxy for exploration and settlement. New frontiers, Sarah mused, watching the gate's energy patterns stabilize. New adventures, new dangers too, I'd wager. Elena smiled. "I wouldn't have it any other way. We've proven what humanity can do when pushed to its limits. Now it's time to see what we can achieve when we push ourselves further, not out of necessity, but out of choice." As the assembled ships began to move towards the jump gate, Elena felt a sense of anticipation building. This was more than just a ceremony, it was the dawn of a new era. Humanity had taken its place among the stars, not just as survivors or warriors, but as explorers, diplomats, and innovators. The journey ahead would not be easy. There would be new challenges, new threats, new wonders to discover. But Elena knew that whatever the galaxy threw at them, humanity would face it with the same spirit that had carried them through their first interstellar war. Together with their new allies, they would forge a future brighter than any could have imagined. A future where the boundaries between species blurred, where ancient rivalries gave way to cooperation, and where the combined ingenuity of 1,000 civilizations pushed back the frontiers of what was possible. As the flagship approached the jump gate, Elena squared her shoulders, ready to lead humanity into that future. The stars awaited, and with them, endless possibilities. "Take us through, Admiral," she said, her voice filled with determination and hope. "Our next great adventure is about to begin." With a flash of energy, the ship entered the jump gate, carrying humanity forward into a new chapter of galactic history. The war was over. The age of exploration, diplomacy, and unity had begun. And somewhere out there in the vast expanse of space, new challenges and new wonders awaited, ready to test the limits of human potential once again. The end and a new beginning.